Guys, this story is a prime example as to why tripping is not for everybody. This experience happened after I had already returned home from New Zealand and I was on this psychedelic crusade where I felt like absolutely everybody in the entire planet had to trip because it had showed me so much beauty and so much truth about this world that I was quite honestly a very different person. If you were to compare the me who just got back from New Zealand versus the me now, you would be like, Jesus, Adam, what the hell happened? Regardless of all that nonsense, let's jump right into this story. The characters of this experience were myself, of course, and one other person this time. My friend, we'll call her Jenny. That is a spitting image of what Jenny looked like. And Jenny was one of my friends who I believed would really benefit from psychedelics. Her and I had tried MDMA together. It was her first time. She said it felt like years of healing all in one. I was like, yeah, Jenny could really benefit from some psychedelics because, you know, I know what's best for everybody. No, I really didn't. In fact, this experience largely showed me how no matter what you think is maybe going to help the world, like give the whole world mushrooms, put LSD in the water so everybody has an enlightenment, well, not everyone is going to take away from the experiences what you may be taking away. Some people just really aren't at the place where they're mentally ready for that experience, and unfortunately, this is one of those stories. I know, Adam, why don't you ever tell us good, positive stories? Because those are freaking boring. It's a harm reduction channel, man. Plus, these terror tales are more exciting. I mean, what am I gonna say for a good story? I had a great trip, we laid there, we had some phenomenal otherworldly sex, I meditated for a while, I reached enlightenment, I saw that I was everything was me, yada yada yada. End of story, close the book. All right, that was a whole 30-second video, goodbye. No, f that shit. These stories are not only more fun to tell, but you guys get to learn something in the process, learn to not be an idiot like I freaking was in the past, and use all of my mistakes as stepping stones so that you can make it across the river in one trollop. Now, to be clear, it's not like I forced the LSD onto her. I asked her to do her own research, and I made it very clear that whatever happens, you have to be ready to accept that. Like, if it does go bad, that could be a lesson for you in the future. The one thing that I wasn't prepared for was the disgusting potency of these tabs. They were marked at 100 micrograms, and this is a really good example as how shit can go really, really bad when your tabs are overdosed. Whew. They call it hotspots for a reason. They could have been anywhere from 200 micrograms to 250, maybe even 300. And this stuff I found out was derived from Cafergot, which is a pharmaceutical grade compound that contains caffeine and ergotamine. Yeah, this was strong as frickin' balls, man. Insert this guy smoking balls tonight.
This guy is smoking balls tonight.
Anyway, let's just jump right into the story. I've prefaced it enough. I remember we went down into the basement of the house I was staying at. We took the tab, and I got an inkling that this is gonna be a fun night. Didn't know it was gonna be a fun next day. Around 30 minutes in, that's usually when the acid starts to kick in for me. You get this weird sensation in your stomach, like it feels sour. It's almost like all the hairs stand up on your arms. You're like this cat going, Before I had time to really prepare for the intensity, it was just there. It really just hit me all at once. Felt like a freight train. Like next thing I know, I'm just sitting on the ground. My eyes are closed. I'm opening them and I'm just like dripping with sweat going, oh man, okay. This is gonna be a ride. And I remember looking over at her and we were in like the corner of the basement. So I was on one wall, she was on the other in the corner. Fell out against the wall looking at me like, oh wow. Yeah, this is, okay, yep, all right. Yeah, this is, Essentially, we went from come up to peak in all of 5 minutes. It was just like, oh, kind of feeling effects to blasted. It's really difficult to explain these crazy peak experiences, and I couldn't do it if I tried. It really just feels like you're being teleported. It's kind of like it's very similar to a DMT breakthrough. So anyway, we're sitting there across from each other, and I don't really remember anything. I was just gone. Full ego death. Before I even had time to panic that I was dying, I was just dead. And I remember sitting there as I'm coming back, maybe 10, 20 minutes later. I really don't know what time was like during this experience, and feeling a lot of panic because looking at her, she was just looking really uncomfortable and frightened, and like she didn't know how to handle what was going on. She wasn't saying that she was scared, but I think she was saying stuff like, this is really intense. Oh my God, this might be too intense for me. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? And I am just blasted sky high. And here I am trying to calm her down. I'm like, yeah, no, you just gotta sit here. Just close your eyes and just breathe in and out. Just let it take you. Just don't hold on. Just, it's gonna go somewhere. I don't want to die. Yeah, I probably wasn't being much help at this point, because this was when psychedelics had started to turn for me and get a little freaky. Now, my girlfriend was upstairs sleeping, so I remember I went upstairs, woke my girlfriend up, who was very angry to have been woken up, and I was like, listen, I need some help. Can you just remind me that I'm a human and that I'm here, because I'm trying to take care of someone else, and if I can't take care of me, how am I going to take care of them? So I just need some help being grounded. Just tell me you love me, ground me. I think we were going through some shit, so she was just pissed all around. She was just like, Adam, you're safe. Paul's, yeah, you're fine. Get the fuck out of here. Let me sleep. Thanks for being an awesome help. I guess it's my fault. Shouldn't have been tripping with a friend. So I remember going downstairs, and oddly at this point, things did start to let up. I can't remember what she was asking, but I do remember what I was telling her, and I was just saying stuff to her like, yeah, that's right, yes. Don't you feel that connection to everything? You're me, and that the oneness with all, and it was very basic LSD-esque type talking, just, well, the oneness shit. Yeah, I get it, we're all one, we're all made of atoms, sure, whatever. But when you're in that experience and you feel it, it's a totally different ballgame, man. It's even more intense than, say, when you think you've seen a place because you've watched it on TV and then you actually visit that place and you're like, it's so different. How stupid was I to think that I have seen the world from my television screen when I haven't seen freaking shit all? But it's not like that. It's even more intense than that. It's so indescribable unless you've had that experience yourself. And yeah, we're having these chats and it looks like she's really getting it. She's looking at me like, yeah, we're all one. This is when things start to really turn for her, okay? So she's staring off into the distance, just like a zombie, just totally dazed, and she goes, wait, so if you and me are the same, what about Jasmine? I was like, what? You mean Jasmine upstairs sleeping? Yeah. Does that mean that I'm Jasmine too? Well, yeah, I mean, if we're all one, then Jasmine's part of the one. Like, everybody, the whole world, we're all one, baby. Interconnected gorgeousness. Different facets of the infinite universe consciousness experiencing itself in all kinds of different perspectives all at once. It's the unity, man. It's oneness. It's everything that you can imagine. That's it. So yeah, I mean, you're Jasmine. Yeah, you guys are one. She might have had some selective hearing going on because, she didn't hear anything besides me saying she was Jasmine, and she kept asking me repetitive questions, like she was definitely stuck in a thought loop, and she's like, so if we're all one, then does that mean I'm Jasmine? Yeah, I already told you, I guess. I mean, if you want to be, sure, choose whatever one of the billions of ones you want. If you want to be Jasmine, all right. Whoa, I'm Jasmine too. Yeah, it's getting a little creepy. All right. My friend wants to be my girlfriend. I'm not going to read too much into this. For me, this is when things got really weird. We're still just laying there like, just drooling zombies, totally tripping balls. And for me, LSD can be very sexual. It makes my skin feel really tingly, and the way that your brain works, sex feels like this alien thing. It's so bizarrely pleasurable. I started thinking about sex, but it was almost like my brain turned into this Japanese hentai farm, and all I could picture was like these weird tentacle things. It was like alien sex with these tentacles coming everywhere, and they were like going into me all over the place. Yeah, you're getting a weird visual right now. It wasn't like that. It was just more bizarre than weird. But regardless, the feeling was the same. I was starting to feel a little horny there. I was starting to come out of the peak now, and I was able to actually make sense of physicality. Her face was doing this effect that for some reason I find really cool. It's where like any moles or little pimples or wrinkles, they do this like teleportation thing where as you're looking at them, they're just like popping in and out of existence. I think I've talked about this before. And at the same time, all of the lines, all the shadows, they're kind of doing this stop motion thing where they go, it's so hard to explain, but the end result kind of looks like there's this invisible brush, I've said this many times, painting on people's faces and their wrinkles. It's really cool, but it also has this tinge of electricity to it. It almost looks like everybody is digital. as if we are in a simulation and you're seeing the simulation as it's breaking down. It's like your brain's moving so fast that the simulation can't catch up. This is what things really look like. That's how it feels, at least. It feels like you've got this crazy behind the veil view into reality. Or, you know, how your brain interprets everything. Because if you think about it, my experience is subjective. I will never know what these hands look like to you. I only know what they look like to me. And for all I know, they could look very different to me than they do to you. Because I can never get out of my own head. You're not really seeing with your eyes. Your brain is interpreting data from your optic nerves, and then it's translating it and, you know, flipping it around into the images you see. But ultimately, nothing you're seeing is out there. It's so trippy, isn't it? Because everything in this world is in here, and we project it outwards. But it's on so many levels, because we also are projecting our fears, our feelings, our wants, our needs onto the world, and we often paint other people with a projection of our own. I can't interpret someone in any more depth than my own brain will allow me to interpret them with. Think about that for a while. A lot of us don't realize just how many different ways there are to look at the exact same thing, and that depending on the perspective you take to view it with, even in just your vision, you can see this, it totally changes. Oh, 3 dimensions, man. Some trippy shit, bro. Oh, so we're having one of those experiences together. I'm looking at her, and I'm watching those little moly moles just popping and going, hi, oh, wait, over here now, see ya. I'm watching all her wrinkles morphing, and to me, it looks beautiful. And I'm pretty sure I complimented. I was like, wow, you look really pretty right now. I think everything looks pretty on acid, to be honest. No offense to her. She's a very attractive girl. No offense at all. She is very pretty, but on acid, I thought she was just stunning. And again, my thoughts are going a little sexual here, so I'm thinking about my dick and how it feels, and I start thinking about sex, and I've got this zombie beside me just looking very, very inviting. I'm thinking, shit, I need sex. My girlfriend's upstairs. She's super pissed at me, asleep. There's no way I can go wake her up to try to get laid. But I do have this gorgeous, lovely lady, zombie, if you will, right beside me. And then no, I'm just kidding. Nothing happened. So I'm having too much fun with this. And then I was like, okay, I said to myself, I gotta handle this. I can't. I actually started getting scared of my thoughts because I was just thinking about how crazy horny I was feeling. This is, I think, why all of those hippies were all like one love and love everybody equally. I'm sure they had lots of orgies, because when you're in that mindset, you forget the normal social bounds and even your normal feelings. I couldn't handle it anymore, so I left her for a second, went upstairs to the upstairs bathroom, and man, that was weird. Oh, if you guys have ever masturbated on acid, it's weird, but it's also awesome. Tentacles, man. Those fucking weird tentacles. Anyway, felt amazing. Was really happy to get that out of the way so I could stop freaking obsessing over sex. Like, god damn it, I'm such a sex fiend. So then I went back downstairs, and she's still just gone. Just totally gone. I was like, all right, yeah, we gotta change this, change the vibe up a little bit. We were probably around 3 hours in. The peak had passed, and for me, the peak is the most intense. Maybe that's why I'm so sensitive to acid, because it's like, it hits me really hard and really fast, no matter the dose, but it doesn't last as long for me as other people. For me, the whole experience is really done in 6 hours. I just must have a fast metabolism, which my current gut does not imply. So that's the enjoyable part for me, really. The peak is kind of hit or miss, but after that peak, that's when I can really just listen to music, get lost, and kind of, play with the experience, have some fun with it. But she just still looks so freaking blasted, like there's nobody home, and she keeps saying the same thought loops still. So we're everybody. That means I'm Jasmine. Oh god, I'm starting to think maybe it was a bad idea telling her that. Maybe she's really not at a place right now where she can understand it in the way that I think I understand it. So I told her that we had to move. I grabbed her hand, I helped her up. I went into the television room. I put on some music that I thought was good, and I told her we were just gonna sit down and just let the music take you. Let's just try doing this for a little while and see what happens. And she was very compliant. It seemed as though she had been given scopolamine or something. And the password to your online banking is Oh, it's scary how some people can get on this stuff, and it's terrifying just how suggestible they can be. I saw firsthand the dangers of even having a conversation about everybody being one with someone, because it didn't end there. We sat there and listened to music for a while. I really didn't know what to do because she wasn't very communicative. Seemed like she was so lost in her own head, and I was trying to talk to her, but at the same time I didn't really want to push too hard. I wanted to allow her the space to have her experience. Like, just because someone looks like they're out of it and looks like they're confused, if they're not panicking and not freaking out, then for all you know, they are having a good time. Who am I to judge what a good time looks like to her? She could have been having the most enlightening experience ever. Meanwhile, it was more like Jenny.exe had crashed, definitely needed a restart, and her system was running slow. Like those old 46 days where you turn your computer on, go eat dinner, watch your favorite show, come back, and it's just barely letting you get into the login screen. I'm old enough to remember those days, yep. Kid pics at school, that was the shit, man. Fucking kid pics. I don't really remember much else except her just, repeatedly asking the same weird stuff, which case I started answering her differently. I started saying, no, you're Jenny. You're not Jasmine. Yes, we're all one, but you are Jenny. As I was getting out of the trip, I was trying to coax her into getting out of her trip as well. I didn't want her thinking she's freaking Jasmine forever. At the 6-hour mark, I was actually ready to sleep. No benzos, nothing, just tired. I actually had a doctor's appointment the next day around noon, I think, and I couldn't miss it, so I thought I'll just sleep for a little while, then we'll rush off to the doctor's. So I told her that she could stay on the couch and I was going to go into my bed to sleep. If you need me, you have my number. Here's your phone. This is how it works. You can also walk up the stairs and come and get me. Don't be afraid of waking me. Just like, I'm here for you. I just need to get some sleep. And that was a mistake. I shouldn't have tried to leave her because I think I was upstairs for all of 5 minutes when she called. What the hell? So I remember answering the phone and it was just radio silence. I was like, hello? Are you okay? Keep in mind, we're 6 hours through now and I'm really like back to earth. Like, I'm barely even seeing visuals, just slight movement at this point. Hello? Do you need something? You okay, Jenny? Do you want another blanket? Can I get you some more water? Just nothing. And then I hear, so I'm Jasmine. No, I'm kidding. She wasn't saying that anymore. She's like, I need you here. I was like, okay. I don't think she was sleeping, but I got a solid 4 hours sleep down there on the couch. And then I woke up and it was time for me to go to the doctor. And, in my mind, she should be done tripping at this point. Like, it's the next day. We were probably 10 hours past the drop point, and I'm looking at her and she's just still looking like a zombie. And I'm trying to explain to her, but it's like what I'm saying isn't getting through. I'm just like, listen, I have to go to the doctor's now. You're welcome to spend the day here until you feel better. Spend as long as you like recovering. There's no rush at all. Help yourself to the fridge, food, just make yourself at home, but we have to go. We've got to get out of here. We've got a doctor's appointment. We have some errands to run, so I'm going to be gone for at least 2 hours. I'll do my best to come back as soon as possible, but I've got to go. And she seemed okay at first. Like, she was like, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. And I was like, again, if you need me, you can call me here. And she's like, okay, yeah, but can't you stay? I was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't stay. I felt so bad. I mean, yes, it's 10 hours later, but like, she really needed me. And you don't understand. If I wanted to stay, it would have been unleash hell from Jasmine, because this was an important doctor's appointment that we had to go to, and we both had to be there for it. And she was probably pissed at me for doing acid the night prior anyway, just in general. So the last thing I wanted to do was miss this appointment, because if I missed it, then she had to miss it too. And like I said, we were going through a bit of a thing here, so I didn't want to make her mad. So I left her to go to the appointment. She repeatedly called me as I'm leaving, and I was like, okay. And it was just so awkward because every time she'd call, I'd answer, I'd say hello, and she would say nothing. So I'm getting really worried. I'm like, can you just say okay? Just say something so I know that you're breathing and alive. Shh. I'm stressing out so hard. Every time she calls, I'm trying to give her the whole spiel of she's going to be okay. This is going to wear off. Just give a little bit of time, drink water. I give her like toast, eat some bread, eat something, just get something in your system to feel like a human again. It's been 10 hours. It should be wearing off by now. You're going to come back. You're going to be fine. And I was just getting so anxious and nervous because A, I felt really bad for leaving her by herself when she was in that state. And then B, man, I know what it's like to be in a bad space. I felt so guilty. I should just put my foot down to Jasmine and said, I have to stay. You guys know what it's like when you're already fighting and you do something stupid like trip on acid all night with your female friend. And yeah, girlfriend's mad. You don't want to be in that doghouse forever. Anyway, super selfish of me because now my whole time is just, I'm dripping with sweat. I'm actually sweating right now. Shit, it's hot down here. Hat has got to go. I wanted to make it old school psych substance style, but no, I can't handle it. My thoughts are racing. I'm going like, how do I know she's going to stay in the house? What if she goes and wanders off? What if she wanders into traffic? Like, I don't really know how gone she is. Yes, technically the acid should have run its course. She should be back. What she's experiencing right now is probably just some freaking PTSD from the experience for all I know. Or it's just she's having like an anxiety attack, but the acid's gone. As soon as I got back and I saw that she was just like sitting on the bed like a total zombie, just cue horror music as she looks at me slowly. Waves of relief washed over me. I was like, okay, thank God, she's still in the house. She's in one piece. I was also worried she was going to do something stupid, like call the police or call an ambulance to get her. And yeah, I knew that at the time it might sound like a good idea, but it's usually not. I spent the rest of the day with her. Long story short, she was like a zombie the whole day. I kept bringing her water. I kept trying to get her to drink, and it's like she didn't want to drink. She just was sitting there quiet, and I told her, of course, you can sleep here. So she went the whole day basically being a zombie. Then she went to bed. She woke up the next day, and she was still, for the most part, a zombie. And she was just kind of like laying in the bed. I heard her on the phone a few times talking to people, and it sounded like she was just in a total loop, just repeating the same things over and over again to them. And then the next day, around, I think, 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, she finally started speaking normally. And she finally had enough energy to get up and move around. And she was like, okay, I think I'm starting to feel better now. And I was like, well, you got to tell me what the hell was going on? Where were you for this whole time? Because you were really stressing me out. You scared the shit out of me. I was worried that you were never going to come back. Like, I've never seen someone trip for one whole night, one whole day. Were you actually tripping? Was it anxiety? What was it? She couldn't get out of it. She said she was just experiencing being other people. She wasn't herself. She was, whoever Jenny is was long gone, and she was just stuck. I do think the trip ended because the molecule would have evacuated her brain. It would have exited at that point. Like, your trip ends because the drug's no longer in the brain anymore. I don't know, man. I don't know. I still have a hard time believing she was tripping that entire duration. I do think that just the thoughts were so traumatic for her. It sent her into this long-lasting trauma that just proceeded into the following evening. But what the hell do I know? Maybe she was tripping. But yeah, she said that it was just really, really freaky, and she didn't know how to handle it, and it was way too intense. She was not expecting that intensity. And trying to tell someone who doesn't really know much about acid that wasn't what was supposed to happen, that the dose was supposed to be way less than that, it was kind of hard to get that through to her. But I soon learned my lesson to not ever suggest that anyone should try a psychedelic to work through their problems. You know, that was just ultimately very, very dumb of me. I mean, she did recover. As far as I can tell, it didn't have any kind of long-lasting impact on her life. Like, she might have felt weird for that week, but it wasn't long before she was back to her normal self and before she was able to just compartmentalize and push that experience away. It didn't seem to me like it was something that she held on to or that it caused any trauma for her beyond just being a really intense experience. So that was good. I'm grateful that there was no long-lasting trauma there, because I don't know how I would be able to live with that, knowing that I was the one who suggested we have a tab. Ugh, it makes me feel awful. I'm pretty sure she did say she never wanted to try LSD again. I don't really blame her. What a shitty way to be introduced to what otherwise can be such a beautiful molecule. If only those tabs were laid accurately. I guess I have to remind myself that it wasn't totally my fault. If that was an actual 100 micrograms or even 70, we should have started at like 50 to 70. Somewhere in that range would have been way more intelligent. Like, hindsight is 20/20, right? So I got to remind myself it's not totally my fault, because we weren't supposed to trip that hard. It wasn't supposed to be that high of a dose. Fuck no. Oh man. Anyway, that's basically the story. That sure taught me these compounds are not for everybody, and you really do have to be careful of the mentality of the people who you're introducing it to. I was so naive and stupid. It was in my honeymoon phase where I thought that these trips could heal the world, and I soon realized they probably can't. Something like LSD can only work with what it's given, and if you're not in the best place in your mind, the tool doesn't have much to really use to expand and grow. But anyway, If you enjoyed this old school style trip report video, I'm trying to do some more old school stuff, then remember to check out the video that I tried to post that no one got notified of. It is an old school how-to video, how to drink DMT. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure you leave it a big thumbs up. I'm admittedly working on a really massive project right now, something that's even bigger than the LSD trip simulation and better. I'm doing my best to release these easier to make videos as I'm working on that big project, because I have the tendency to just fully immerse in the big project, and then my channel can go like a month or so without anything posted. I'm trying not to let that happen this time. So if you see more just casual talking videos or Q&As from me lately, that's why. It's because I'm working on something really big and exciting. Anyway, if you do support this content, make sure you support us on Patreon. We need your help to grow. So if you like this content, visit our Patreon page. And until next time, I will see you guys all later. Love you guys. Take care.